early December of 2012, a crazy person in Connecticut went to a school and killed 20 school children and a number of adults. The attack in a theater in Colorado was the act of a crazy person. There are always some crazy people, and there are already laws in place making it illegal for them to obtain or to use them. It is illegal to take a firearm into a school or a theater. It is illegal to kill people, yet these laws did not stop these events because criminals do not obey the law. Only law-abiding citizens obey the law, and the law-abiding citizens are not the problem.
The Australian government, as part of trying to clamp down on the availability of automatic weapons, offered a good price for buying hundreds of thousands of guns. They believed, and I think the evidence supports them, that by offering to buy back those guns, they were able to, curtail the supply and to set a different standard for gun purchases in the future. So I think that's worth considering.
More guns will make us safer. You just having a gun to defend yourself puts us all in danger.
Would rather have people be victims of a crime than be able to defend themselves. It's incomprehensible.
You're an unbelievably stupid man, aren't you?
That I proposed right after Newtown happened. So I've taken steps that are within my control. The next phase now is for Congress to go ahead and move.
Mr. Obama, the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution does not talk about an army. That is covered elsewhere in the Constitution. It does talk about a well-regulated militia, which is made up of civilians with their own weapons. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution does not talk about protecting government or government resources, but it does talk about being necessary for the security of the free state. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution does not say a single word about hunting or sport, but it does say,
"The people's right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed."
If gun control actually did work, Washington, D.C. and Chicago would be the safest cities in your nation, but it is not. They have the toughest gun laws and the highest crime and murder rates.
anybody that wants to disarm me can drop dead. Anybody that wants to make me unarmed and helpless, people that want to literally create the proven places where more innocents are killed, called gun-free zones, we're going to beat you. We're going to vote you out of office.
Good thing that I now am not armed. Except
in 2002, my daughter was 2 weeks old. I was on my way to work, and I found myself the intended victim of a apparent carjacking attempt at about 6:30 in the morning. I had a lawfully carried Glock sidearm. I unlatched my seatbelt, drew my weapon, and stopped the attack or the impending attack against me.
just by showing the gun.
Just by showing the gun. Just by showing the gun.
Licensed dealers that are at those gun shows, they sell guns from the back of their cars without any license to anybody that wants them.
Hey, I've been to a million gun shows. I've never seen anybody sell a gun out of the back of a car. You can do that in any alley in the city in New York City if you wanted to do it. It doesn't have to be at a gun show.
I just came out of
Wisconsin. Bottom line is that's not legal.
With the police.
Now, who needs an AR-15 with 30-round mags? That question has also been brought up. And I would like to put forward that had the Koreans in the LA riots not had AR-15s and AK-47s with 30-round magazines and Ruger 30s, their businesses would have been burned to the ground like all of the other businesses in their neighborhoods. Theirs stood because they stood their ground.
He wants people, all of them, if they want people to see that they are armed and that you enter their properties at some risk.
But you notice this is in a high-rise area. I'm not exactly sure where that is. I suspect that is just south of Vermont.
Yes, that's the area it looks like. I saw a sign that says street sign that said 5th Street too a moment ago.
Okay.
There are a lot of armed people over there.
We certainly have all the ingredients for confrontation.
Yes. I just heard somebody that moved their on the audio portion of the videotape said they're coming. I don't know what that means, whether they are preparing for somebody who they see who may be arriving to do something to them. But it certainly seems that they are preparing for some kind of confrontation. Or perhaps they were referring to law enforcement that were coming.
Larry, I've just been informed that the Korean language newspaper says that 100 businesses have been hit in Korean-owned businesses in the area.
A lot of courage to pass this SAFE Act. Apparently my definition of courage differs from yours. You see, if it was really so courageous a bill and it took so much courage to pass it, then why was it done in the middle of the night when no one could see it or read it? That's not courage. That's a mafia-style sit-down to divvy up what's good for the bosses. Courage is taking the right and true course of action, not the politically expedient one. And anyone who is proud of this law must also be proud of the Patriot Act, the TSA, imprisoning Japanese citizens in World War II, since all these actions were spurred on by emotional fear and rammed through in the name of public safety. Another issue is the insistence of certain people to stand on the graves of dead children and challenge those that disagree to say it to the parents' faces. Well, I, for one, will pick up that gauntlet. First off, why is dead children your battle cry? You didn't say anything about the hundreds of Chicago children being killed, and for some reason you only scream when it happens to wealthy white ones. And yes, I will say to anyone's face, My right is more important than your dead because I fought for it firsthand. I washed the blood of my friends out of my Humvee, and I picked up their mangled bodies, and I fought day in and day out. I did more things that you people can't imagine. So yeah, my right trumps your dead. I earned it in blood. I gave up a lot for this country, including my youth, and better men than me gave up a whole lot more, so that all you, myself included, could enjoy the rights that are guaranteed to us in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. And we didn't go through all that to come back home and watch the surrender of what we fought for happen based on the demented actions of a couple madmen.
But a couple of months earlier, I had made the stupidest decision of my life. I took my gun out of my purse and left it in my car. Because, as you well know, in the state of Texas, it's sometimes a felony offense to carry a gun in your purse. I can tell you that I'm not mad at the guy that did this. As he continued, it was obvious that he was a madman. My father, at that point, said, I just got to do something. I've got to do something. He's going to kill everybody in here. And he rushed the man. No way. The guy turned, shot him in the chest. He went down, was obviously mortally wounded. For whatever reason, that made the man change directions and go off to my left. Shortly thereafter, someone at the back of the restaurant broke out a window. When I saw what looked like an opportunity to escape, I turned around and I grabbed my mother by the shirt, and I said, come on, we've got to run, we've got to get out of here. And then my feet grew wings, and I was out the back window. As soon as I got out, I realized that my mother had not followed me out. And as I learned from the police officers, she had crawled over to where my father was and cradled him until the guy got back around to her, put the gun to her head. She looked up at him, put her head down, and he pulled the trigger. My parents had just had their 47th wedding anniversary. She wasn't going anywhere. As I mentioned, I'm not really mad at the guy that did this. And I'm certainly not mad at the guns that did this. They didn't walk in there by themselves and pull their own triggers. The guy that did it was a lunatic. That's like being mad at a rabid dog. I'm mad at my legislators for legislating me out of the right to protect myself and my family. I would much rather be sitting in jail with a felony offense on my head than have my parents alive.
In early December of 2012, a crazy person in Connecticut went to a school and killed 20 school children and a number of adults. The attack in a theater in Colorado was the act of a crazy person. There are always some crazy people, and there are already laws in place making it illegal for them to obtain or to use them. It is illegal to take a firearm into a school or a theater. It is illegal to kill people. Yet these laws did not stop these events because criminals do not obey the law. Only law-abiding citizens obey the law, and the law-abiding citizens are not the problem.